We are live on my Facebook page, Zibuniso Micro Mortgages, and whoever couldn't come in to see us tonight, able to stream in and see us from my page. Hello, everybody. My name is Zibuniso Alimova. I'm a mortgage advisor with Micro Mortgages. Been around for a while now, and tonight I'm joined by beautiful Talitha Lowis from Harcourts. And tonight we're going to have just a little chit chat about the whole buying process, buying a house process. And if anyone has any questions, and if you guys are seeing us, please feel free to send us some comments and stuff, and we should be able to answer any of the questions you have. So without further ado, Talitha, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I know it's a huge commitment, Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, family time, but you're here, you're with me. So please take it away. Tell us about who you are and what you do.
Okay, I'm Talitha Lowis. I work for Harcourts in Parapalaumu. It's funny, it's the 8 o'clock family time. In real estate life, there isn't such a thing as 8 o'clock family time. You squeeze it in and then you go on again. No, obviously we try to put time away for the family. They always come first, but real estate is full on. I love it. I absolutely love it. I realized today again, after talking to people, I'm definitely in the industry I have to be in. And yeah, thanks, Zibuniso, for tonight. I'm very excited. I am nervous.
Well, don't be nervous. I've got a set of questions for you. I try to keep them simple, and I promise
perfect.
not to have any curly ones in there for you. So tell us how long you've been around with Harcourts and what did you do before that?
So we moved, I'm obviously from South Africa. We moved to New Zealand just over 7 years ago. And I didn't do real estate over there. And the lady who sold us our house in Alexandra, where we moved to right at the beginning, we just headed off, and she needed a PA. So I started work as her PA, and I really liked the way real estate was structured in New Zealand. There's so many rules and regulations that you have to follow. It's not a lot of people won't believe this, but you can actually trust real estate agents in New Zealand. And yeah, so it really intrigued me. And then I asked her if I do my license, would she employ me? And she said, definitely. And yeah, so that was, I got my license in March 6 years ago and still stayed as a PA for a little while. So I've been in the industry for 5.5 years. Wow. I started with another company and then we moved to Capitae. And I looked around which company to move to. And what stood out about Harcourts for me was all the agents have been there for so long. So I felt it must be a good company if people stay there for 20 odd years. And honestly, I love the support I'm getting from Harcourts. They are investing in my future because I have bigger plans. And yeah, and so I've been with them for 3.5 years now.
Awesome. That's I mean, obviously we know each other privately as well, and I mean, every time you tell me your story, it's awesome. Like your journey has been incredible. So tell me, what's the real estate agent's role in the buying and selling process? Like, what do you guys do? I mean, a lot of people just say, oh, you know, I can sell it myself. I can just put it on Trade Me.
Yeah, do that.
$1 reserve. Tell me, what's your role? What do you do? How do you help?
So we do have a few people that ask us why not do it ourselves, and by all means in this market you can, but will you get the best price? We have a database of humongous amounts of people looking for properties, and we fine-tune it per property. So there's a lot of paperwork involved when it comes to real estate, especially with all the rules and regulations. People don't always understand what they have to disclose and what they have to share with people when it comes to buying or selling your own home. So yes, do it yourself, but it's just so much easier. And first offer isn't always the best offer. And we can advise you whether what the market says it's worth or whatnot. That's our job. So when buying a house, first of all, the first thing I ask somebody if they want to buy a house, what do you want? How many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? How big a garage, if a garage is important? So we really fine-tune the criteria. And then, of course, how much they want to invest in a property. When it comes to selling a property, we appraise properties. Because, yeah, you can go to companies, online companies. I'm not sure I should mention any names.
Don't.
No. So you can go to online companies and see what your house is worth. But they don't go into your house. They have no idea what your house is like inside. In a lot of cases, houses are completely redone inside, but they compare it to the RVs of the houses that are sold in the area. You can't do it with all the houses because not all the houses, the RV doesn't reflect what your house is worth in most cases.
Yeah, totally.
In most cases, it sells way above RV. In a few cases, it sells way under, because if people haven't done anything to their house in the last 20 years, it's not going to be the same value as your neighbor who's completely redone it.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to go by what those companies tell you your house is worth, because they don't go and look from ceiling to floor what your house is like.
On the inside, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, tell me, now that we're talking about the market and how the market is doing and stuff, obviously you and I in Kapiti region, for those listeners that on my page and the outside of Kapiti, maybe they don't know where Kapiti is, but we're about 45 minutes away from Wellington and about an hour, maybe 45 minutes from Palmerston North. So we're sort of in the middle and much warmer than Wellington, less windier than Wellington. It was definitely a place of my choice when we were choosing of where to go in Wellington. So I love, love, love Kapiti. But tell us what's happening in Kapiti market at the moment. What's the market doing? Housing market? So
the house in the background, last year, straight after lockdown, we sold it for 990, which was really good. For that time. In 5 months, we sold it again for 1.4 million. That's an indication of what the market is doing. So
holy moly.
It in the last year, from August last year to August this year, the market has risen 21.8% in our region. At the moment, people are getting a bit nervous because what's going to happen after the last lockdown we've had. Everyone's hoping the same as last year, but you don't know what's going to happen. What we've seen, because we actually had a lot of virtual auctions during lockdown, because the properties were in campaigns, we still had the buyers. Buyers still wanted to buy it. Sellers still wanted to sell it. We can sell a property during lockdown. We just can't settle in level 4. So the market went ahead and all the prices were exactly as unexpected and positively unexpected. So I think it's starting to plateau out a little bit, prices, but the thing is, the prices are still really good.
Yeah.
Because the market boomed so fast that even though if it plateaus out a little bit, it's still so much higher than what we expected a year ago.
I guess it's good for sellers.
Yeah, definitely.
Not for buyers.
Oh, it depends, because a lot of buyers have to sell wherever they are.
When
and they're buying and selling. If you sold 2 years ago and you're trying to buy now, not as good. Yeah. And unfortunately, there are a few people in that situation. It breaks my heart because we see them open home after open home after open home. Or people not wanting to take the risk of buying before they sell or selling before they buy. So it's hard. It's hard. It is hard. It's so hard, but the market is still very, very good. It's definitely still a seller's market.
So what are the different methods of sale and how can buyers put because obviously I'm protecting my buyers, right? I work for my buyers, you work for your sellers. So we're in an interesting position here. So every time I talk to someone, I always have my buyers at the back of my head. Yeah. And so what are the different methods of sale out there and how can buyers put their best foot forward?
Okay, so there are 5 major ways of selling. There are three that's the best for the current market. I personally think two, but there are three. So you have tender, deadline, auction, buyer inquiry over a price, and then pricing it. In this market, we definitely don't recommend pricing it. There are companies that believe in pricing it, but if you price it too high, you put people off. If you price it too low, you run the risk of costing your vendors money. I believe in war stories, so I'm going to tell you another war story.
Yes,
I had a property about a little bit less than a year ago, and my appraisal was 680 to 710, and it was just after lockdown also, so we didn't really know what the market is going to do. So we were keeping it safe, keeping the vendors' feet on the ground, not telling them, look, it's looking like it's going to rise, but we weren't sure what was happening. We had a lot of people all of a sudden from overseas looking, so we're doing videos, 3D walkthroughs, and things like that. So this property, Harcourts is known for auctions. Everyone knows we specialize in auction. We have a designated auction room. We're really good at auctions. We're really good at all methods of sale, to be honest, but we're the one company that specifically specializes in auctions. Anyway, so this guy told me, look, just sell my house. I'm happy to do auction, just do it. I had 5 people in the auction room. I had one guy from Melbourne, from Australia, on the phone, thinking sight unseen, he wants to buy it. So we asked him, what can we bid on your behalf? Because it's just easier if they're on the phone to do it that way. We take lead up to a certain amount of money where he's comfortable, and then we go back to him and say, do you want to go higher? Do you want to go higher? But he's on the phone the whole time, so he knows exactly what's happening. So we asked him, what would you like to spend? And he said 720. I had a lady who came to the first open home, absolutely fell in love with it, and she said 780. So already, if we were to price it way back in the start of the campaign, I would have priced it at 710, hoping we would have got 700.
Wow.
If we went to tender or deadline, people would have put it in envelopes on a contract, and he would have put 720. This lady would have put 780. In auction room, he had the choice to change his mind. He had the chance to change his mind 35 times.
Oh my
she
Lord.
had the chance to change her mind. We ended up selling that house for 855.
Holy moly.
So it does put people off because they feel those people overpaid for their property. But because the style of the house is a townhouse, and there's quite a few of them the same style that are sold, and every one of them, there's not one that sold for under that price. So they didn't overpay. That was the price of those properties. And since then, it's just gone higher. So I made my vendor 70,000 more than the top offer he would have gotten if it was tender or deadline. So the major difference between tender, auction, and deadline is auction is public. It's open, transparent. You know, if you have to go higher with $1,000, you can. Or if you can, and you know you have to, you do it. You know exactly what the other guy is bidding, so you have the ability to go higher if you can or if you want. Tender and deadline, we always tell people, put your best foot forward, because you're probably in competition. In this market, you're always in competition. And but people don't always put their best foot forward. Fair enough, because how do you know you're not going to overpay?
Yeah.
At least with auction, if you pay $1,000 more, you know you're not overpaying by 20, 30, 40,000.
Yeah.
You're overpaying by one, and there's someone else who wanted it just as bad.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
let's talk about for a second, because I deal a lot with, let's say, first home buyers, yeah, and a lot of my first home buyers not ready to go to auctions unless they do their proper due diligence, and a lot of them do prefer other options such as putting offer in or buy inquiry over and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if there is already another offer on a property, can my buyers put an offer in as well?
Yeah. In most cases, a good agent will always take a backup offer, because you don't know if there's an offer on table, there's obviously clauses that needs to be satisfied. In most cases, the clauses are only 5 days, but it does happen that it's longer. And if something happens in those 5 days or 10 working days or whatever the amount of days set aside for it is, and those people withdraw, you have that backup offer. So then at least you have a chance. I always recommend people, if they're interested, to put in a backup offer.
Backup offer. And does the backup offer has to be like a cash offer, or can it also have conditions to it?
It can have conditions, but it has to be favorable for the vendors. Yeah. If, let's say the offer they accepted is subject to a house sale, so obviously that's going to be a longer date.
Yeah.
So in that case, we tell our vendors to put in a escape clause, which we usually do it a 3-day escape clause. Then let's say you offered on a house, but it's subject to you selling your house. Then we put that escape clause in. So let's say after a week, they get another offer that's more favorable. And you, the people who put in the first offer, has 3 working days to come up with at least the deposit and be able to confirm that contract.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. I hope that clarifies for some of our listeners here.
I hope so. If it doesn't make sense, let me know and I'll explain in detail.
No, I think you did a really good job. I think because you and I mean, English is, I'm not sure about you, but English is my, second, third language. Yeah, so I think we try to speak really basic, simple English with people as well. I'm finding
and over-explain things, eh?
Yeah. I think because we want to make sure people understand us. And so we talked about sales and purchase agreement and stuff, but can you explain to people what is the sales and purchase agreement? How do you actually make an offer? Because I always say to people, get a sales and purchase agreement from your agent, and they go, huh, what, where, and they have no idea. So tell us, what is the sales and purchase agreement?
So it's a contract between you and the seller, and it's like a promise that you tell the seller, look, I'm committed to buying your property. But it's a legal binding contract. Years and years ago, people would walk up to someone and say, I'm going to buy your house. I want to pay this much. And they shook on it and it was done. That doesn't work like that anymore. Or just on a piece of paper, I want to buy your house for this month, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't work like that anymore. So the important things when someone tells me I want a sell and purchase agreement to take to my mortgage broker, I tell them, okay, text me or email me your full names, your solicitor's details, when you would like settlement to be done, and what clauses you want to put in. That's all I ask them. I always let them put in the amount they want to offer. And then usually, like, deposit is usually 10%. So I always ask them, are you comfortable with putting it down as 10%, or do you rather want to give a certain amount? Normally it's 10%, but in most cases, and especially because nowadays we have more and more houses that sell for over $1 million. So 10% is quite a high amount. And vendors understand that. So in a lot of cases, we do 5% nowadays, or a certain amount of money. Like, let's say it's a $1.2 million house and they don't have 120,000 cash in their bank, or you can't get them exactly 120,000. And you say, look, we'll give 70,000. Then we write down 70,000.
Okay.
But so if I have that detail, I fill it into the sale and purchase agreement, and then I email it to them or straight to you. In a lot of cases nowadays, we are in touch with the mortgage brokers and we send them all the information.
Can my clients also obtain a I call them blank ones, empty ones, blank ones, especially pre-auction. I find that, because obviously we don't know what's going to happen at auction and who's going to win it. For the banks, we usually do require
just some sort of it. It's happened a few times, and we can send you a blank one.
Cool. Now, in terms of conditions, you touched on it as well, and you touched on the deposit. So on the sales and purchase agreement now, the updated version, it already has inputted. I was like, finally, they actually thought about it. Finance, yes or no.
Yes.
Builder's report, yes or no. Limb, yes or no. So people can either fill out that part, or on the page, whatever.
Yeah, the further terms of sale.
Yeah.
The major thing that people tend to forget, and especially in the finance part of the sale and purchase agreement, if you tick that box on the front page, there has to be a date. You have to say finance for 5 working days or 10 working days. It's very important to put a date there, because otherwise it doesn't really count. If there's no date, it's basically open-ended.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what else I want to ask you? So what happens when people go, so this is a conditional one, right? And then we put 5 days, 10 days, and then that's came up. I tell them, yep, sweet, you've got the finance approved, lawyers all good to go. So people go unconditional. Yeah. What happens when they go unconditional?
On my end. When they become unconditional, they pay the deposit. So I send you or them the deposit detail. So how much they pay and what the reference is. In our situation, it goes into our trust account and then gets dispersed from there to the people that it needs to.
How long do people have to pay that deposit? Like how fast do they have to pay down that deposit?
Preferably within that same day. It has happened where they can't do it exactly that same day, or they do half one day and half the next day. As long as we know more or less when it's going to come, there is a perception that you have 3 working days to come up with it, but it's preferable to do it as soon as possible. Or if you can't do it at that same day, if you're just in contact with us, then we can make it.
Okay. Yeah, I usually tell my clients that, hey, tell your solicitor if you can or you can't, and ask for extension to pay down that deposit.
Yes.
I think it's also a courtesy thing, because
that's all it is. It's with most things. Just be in touch, just communicate. Yeah.
And also I find if we just rewind back, when people do put down the deposit part on a contract, sometimes, I mean, obviously I try to educate my clients as much as possible, but I'm still finding a lot of people don't realize that the KiwiSaver, whatever they've got in their KiwiSaver, they shouldn't really count it as deposit for the sales and purchase agreement, because what happens with the KiwiSaver, we need 10 working days to get it out.
Yeah, we had a case a while ago where the deposit came from the KiwiSaver. So because of that, they had to put a 10 working day clause in for something they already had, but to sort that out. And they had pre-approval and everything was ready. But because of that, we had to put a 10 working days clause in. So, but they were in touch with us. So they explained it to us. So we made the whole contract work around them. Yeah.
Am I still here?
Yes.
Okay, good, because my computer just gone. So you can still see me?
I can still see you, yeah.
Okay, good. So we're just going to carry on, because
okay, cool.
That looks like my computer's just crashing a little bit.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, with the deposit, I always tell people that, hey, just put on a sales and purchase agreement, like whatever you've got in cash sitting in your bank account.
Yeah.
Don't rely on the KiwiSaver, on the grants, on whatever, to be part of your deposit on the sales and purchase agreement.
Yeah.
So what happens when it's a settlement day? Tell us about the settlement day now.
Champagne. No, I'm joking. So settlement day, in most cases, it's smooth, easygoing. Everything works fine.
Hopefully.
In most cases. So what's supposed to happen is the purchaser's solicitor, once they get the go-ahead, they've got the finance, everything is sorted, they phone the vendor solicitor. And then the vendor solicitor is supposed to phone the vendors and ask them, is your house empty? Are you ready to settle? So that's the original plan, but it doesn't always work like that. So what happens is usually around 3 o'clock, the solicitors are in touch. And then everyone gets to know, yeah, key release, the money is paid in, key release is passed in, or so we can release the keys. So when settlement takes place, the house is supposed to be vacant and cleared.
Because, yeah, sometimes I think what people do is also they buy and sell on the same day, and then they have to move from one house to another.
Yeah, and it can be very stressful. So house number 3 is waiting for house number 1 to settle.
Yeah.
But they can't move into the other one unless all of them are empty. So it can be a bit of a stressful situation. We always try to, at least one party, have them move in the next day if they can, or move out earlier for the next people to be able to move in on that day. But obviously it can't always happen. So, but it's all about, again, communication.
Yeah.
So if we know these people are waiting for a key for the next house, we tell the people who wants to move in there, listen, they are waiting for the keys. So as soon as everything goes through, because obviously number 1's money has to go in first, and then happens with number 2 and the next. So yeah, it's a challenge.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's hard when we've got a domino effect. And if something goes wrong somewhere in the middle, it's like, what's going to happen next?
Yeah, but the major thing is we always wait for the solicitors, because we aren't allowed to pass the key to the new owners until the solicitors tell us, yep, go ahead. We're legally obliged to keep the key until they say it's fine.
Yeah. And it's funny, I mean, obviously, I'm on the other side, and with mortgages, they get advanced on the settlement day.
Yeah.
And I usually get notifications from the bank quite early in the morning. So I get them, from 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning onwards.
Oh, wow.
It's gone through. So that's when I email the client saying money's gone to the solicitor. And then it's up to the solicitors, once it's cleared and then gets passed on. So what are the days to avoid for settlement? Like when people put down the settlement day on the sales and purchase agreement, what would be your suggestion to avoid? Which days of the week?
Any day. No, I'm joking. No, obviously it has to be a weekday, because solicitors don't have a weekend. Well, I can't say. A lot of settlements happen on a Friday. So usually Fridays are frantic. Lately, we found quite a few people prefer doing it on a Thursday, because then they have a long weekend to move in.
Okay.
But yeah, there's no day that I would really say, oh no, I wouldn't do it that day.
Yeah. I mean, from the bank's point of view as well, we usually like to make sure it's not too hectic for the banks as well. So we try to avoid many Fridays. Fridays seem to be quite Talitha, thank you so much for your time. I think we've pretty much covered all the burning questions I had. But before we go, I'm sorry, everyone. I don't know what happened there. We got kicked out.
Just blame it on the weather.
Blame it on the weather, absolutely. So we were talking that there are some questions from the audience, and I'm just trying to find them. I think one of them was, hold on a second, I'm just going to get it back in the chat. There we go. What's the best strategy to sell property at the moment?
Well, definitely a no price strategy. Whether you're doing tender or auction, I would definitely say don't put a price on it, at least for 3 weeks, see what the market's feedback is. In the end of the day, the agents are the professionals. We know what properties go for, but we don't set the market. The buyer sets the market.
Yeah, it's a buyer's market.
Yeah. So when the buyers come through, we get price feedback from them, and that narrows it really down to what you can expect come tender or auction day. So any no price marketing, I would suggest. I know a lot of people would like to see more prices. I completely get that. But in the end of the day, we do work for the
buyer.
For the seller.
Oh, I work for the buyer, you work for the seller.
You work for the buyer. In the end of the day, we do work for them and we try to get the best possible for them. And one day, these buyers are going to be sellers and we're going to do the exact same for them. We're going to get the best price for them.
Yeah, makes sense. It's the circle of life.
Circle of life.
I gotta start singing now.
Where's my cat now?
God, yeah, Simba. Right. There's another question. Hold on. Could you please ask if they still practice bridge finance when you buy with a condition to sell yours? I'm not sure if it's a question for you or me. I mean, I do bridging loans. Yes.
Yeah. It works a lot. We do it a lot nowadays.
Yeah, you still see it. Yeah, because I guess people are afraid to sell theirs if they haven't secured something else.
Yeah.
Okay. When I place an offer and I use the money in my bank account for deposit, can I get the Kiwi7 money transferred to my account? So I guess what this person's asking is they use money to pay down the deposit and then they're wanting the Kiwi7 to sort of refund them back. Not for us. We're Tracy from Law Connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should do a three-way next time, you know, you, me, and Tracy. And
we can always get back to that person with that answer because that's a good question. That's a very good question.
I mean, I think I know the answer, but I'd rather not answer. Get in touch with us direct and we can help you. Can you buy a property using cryptocurrency?
No, probably not.
Okay. I
have no idea, really. Nobody's asked me that.
Hey, that might happen in 10 years' time.
I know.
Absolutely. Awesome. Any other questions, please? Lovely audience. Is there anything else? I'm not going to read this one. Do they put No, I'm not going to read it. Do they put deposit into their pockets and wash their hands off?
I wish we could, but no, we don't see that deposit at all. Our commission gets paid out of the deposit, and but that's only after 10 working days, and not always, because sometimes people can't. Different situations for different people. Sometimes we wait until settlement before the commission comes out, but we never wash our hands off people now.
Yeah. Once they're on your database, they're there forever.
That's the thing, and you can ask almost all my clients. Most of my clients become really good friends, and I always tell them on settlement, I'm really sorry, but you're not rid of me now, because it's such a big investment that's getting put into my hands. It's the biggest investment people do.
Yeah.
So I can't, it's never just a transaction for me. Most people become really close friends of mine, or at least friends.
I think you and I, we've got very similar fiery personalities and quite open, and we want to help everybody. And I think part of our jobs is that empathy element.
Definitely.
And, we tend to work with people we empathize with, and as you say, you know, we become good friends, acquaintances, and it's sort of journey through life. And I always say this to my clients as well, that hey, you know, for the next 30 years of your mortgage, exactly. Because I'm not going anywhere, and you're not going anywhere, and it's all relationship based. Whatever we do is very much relationship based. So
exactly,
build good relationships, build good foundation. You know, we're there. And I remember, like, when we bought our first home, when we wanted to sell it, we went back to the same agent because she did a good job selling it to us. We enjoyed working with her, and she was the first one that came to our minds when we wanted to sell. So if you do right by people, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Well. There is another question. What's the biggest reason to move to Kapiti from Wellington?
Because it's Kapiti.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
You started with it. We've got better weather. It's Kapiti. And
Yeah.
very soon it's going to be so quick to go into Wellington when Transmission Gully opens up. And yeah, and selling in Wellington, buying in Kapiti, you can still put a little bit of money in your back pocket afterwards.
Yeah. And I like
It's
driving.
just beautiful.
I
The
like driving
people are
around.
beautiful.
People are lovely. Our schools are good.
Oh,
And
yeah, no, it's awesome. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
yeah. Now that's a funny question we've got here. Have you seen any funny houses like Hobbiton? What was the worst smelly house that you have ever seen?
I once had a house that was still in Alexandra. It was a very smelly house. It was not a
Does it
very.
make your job harder?
Yes, because I believe in presenting a certain style, and it was tenanted, this house, and luckily they were really awesome. They were lovely people, but it was a bunch of young kids who lived there, and so I cleaned before every open home. They said, "Oh, we cleaned it for you," but I just dusted a bit and emptied trash cans and things like that. That was hard work, but it was a good challenge.
Can I just list my house with you just for every week to come in?
No.
My house? Oh, damn. There goes my idea. All right. And I guess one final question. Is it true that the best time to check houses on a rainy day?
You know what? Any day. If you can see it on a sunny, windy, and rainy day, yes, it is. I always tell people, if you like a house in winter or in rainy weather, you're going to love it when the sun shines.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good thing to see how warm a house is and how it handles the cold weather or the rain or the wind. So yeah, if you can get a windy or cold day to see a house, it is definitely a good thing.
Awesome. Well, now winter has finished. We still got some rainy days.
Yeah. Quickly go in and buy, although we don't have a lot of stock at the moment, but go in and view the houses that you can.
The stock, I think the stock, that's the massive problem at the moment. The lowest it's been, right?
Yeah.
Talitha, thank you so much for your time today. Now, I'm thinking to do something fun, and I'm not sure if that's going to work. But, in light of recent news where police has caught this people and they had 100K cash and they had KFC buckets. Have you seen that news? Have you seen that piece? Yeah. And that made me think, right? Like, let's do something fun since people love KFC. If we get, what should we do? Should we do how many likes? Should we go likes on our video?
Yeah.
If we get 2,000 likes on this video, I'm going to give away KFC buckets. How many KFC buckets should we do? Should we go halves? Do you want to join me?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
How many are we going to do?
Let's give away, I don't know, 20 jumbo 10 each, or 10
You said 20 already, 10 each.
All right. 20 jumbo buckets of KFC, 10 each, if we get 2,000 likes on this video. Perfect. On Facebook. And we should put a time limit on, because I mean, a year later we'll be still like getting and then
let's say by what?
I don't know how Facebook works.
But today is the 22nd of October, for a month. Okay,
until next month. Oh, that aligns perfect with my other kid's birthday. Every time there's my kid's birthday, I try to do like a giveaway. Cool. So my eldest child, his birthday is on the 20th of October. So by 20th of October, if we get 2,000 likes, we will draw a random winner that will comment on our video.
Yeah. No, or just like the video and we put all the names in a hat or something.
In a hat and draw it. All right, we'll figure this out. But hey, listeners, we're going to do something fun. I mean, this is random. This is just happening now as we're talking about it. But just to recap, we're going to give away 20 buckets of jumbo KFC. So if you've got a party coming up in October, could be perfect time to start liking our videos and start sharing it.
A Halloween bucket.
Halloween. True. And it doesn't matter where you are in a country, we'll sort you out as long as there's KFC.
As long as it's New Zealand.
As long as it's New Zealand, yeah. I'm not sure how we're going to make it work like in South Africa or
Yeah.
somewhere, whoever's watching us. I know in my country they don't have KFC. But Talitha, thank you so much for your time tonight. I had a blast. You've been awesome. It's been really good to have you on board. And I hope some of the people that have been listening to us have taken your tips on board. And if anyone in Capitae, and if they want to sell their house, I guess they can find you
anytime. Or or just if you have any real estate questions, just text me, email me. My link is in the bio, I think. Just send me a message if you have any questions. I'm here for you for any real estate advice. And thank you, Zebaniso. You are an amazing businesswoman. I'm always flabbergasted by your energy. And this has been so much fun. I was so nervous in the beginning, but I absolutely loved it.
Awesome. And it was really good for me to get to know more about what you do and what's happening out there. And it's not the last time. I mean, I'm going to get on the roll now. I want to do more of this. I'm having so much fun doing this. Soon I'm actually changing my segment a little bit. So I might have you back with something different next time.
Perfect. Anytime.
Thank you so much. And goodbye, everyone.
Bye.